Alright, so I decided to create a smoke and molly video for Anubis since he added it to the competitive pool. So let's get started on B. Now for the first one, this will smoke off in front of Ali. He's getting this corner, aim right here, and a left click throw.
Smoke down.
And that'll leave no gaps, so you won't have an issue with this one. If they decide to come around right side, they're just blind the whole way. If the next one's same spot, and this one's for a closer smoke, if you're trying to go for a quick bomb plant. So you want to go with this line right here, right at the top, and maybe even a hair to the left, and then just jump throw. Now you don't want to go too much to the left, because if you do, when you're down here, they could spot your feet. But on that line, or slightly to the left, will do just fine. Now this smoke works out perfectly with if you add these two smokes in too. And then you just go in real quick and just get a nice bomb plant. Alright, now for these two smokes, I'll show you the connector one first. For the connector one, you want to come up to this line right here. And you want to aim at this white notch right here. And just do a jump throw. And if anyone tries to push through it, they won't be able to see anything until they jump up on this thing, which you'll be able to easily spot out. Now for the other one, to block off back bomb site, you come to right here. Now for this one, you want to go along this line. I like to smoke right here, but if you want to go deeper, you just kind of pull it back over here. And I'll show you why I like to go right here.
Smoke down.
Now the problem with this smoke is if someone's holding back here, they could jump up here and spot you, or even jump spot you, and just spam you through the smoke. So to deal with that, if that's become an issue, you could throw a molly back here, which I will show you how to do in 1 minute. But first, I'm going to show you how to smoke off palace. So for this last smoke, you come to this shadow over here. And you want to line up with this line over here on the bottom of the shadow, and just a hair to the left, and then you just do a jump throw.
Smoke out.
Alright, now back to the mollies. Alright, so to molly the back site area, so they can't jump in there, jump up on that one spot. There's two molly setups. One's easier than the other. The easier one is you go right here, and you aim at this dot, but the dot's a little too high, so you want to slightly bring it down onto the white line, and then do a jump throw.
I'm starting the fire.
So when they jump up here, they'll start getting burned immediately. The only problem with this is a lot of times, if you come back all the way, you won't get burned, but most of the time you will. But if this becomes an issue where they're still using up here to peek over the smoke, there is a way to get it deeper. It's just a little more difficult and requires some practice. So you come up to here, you line up right here. You're going to do a run and jump throw on this one. So you want to line up with this little crevice where you can see the skybox, and you basically put the tip of your crosshair in there. You don't want to be too much to the right, or else you'll hit this. So just try to keep it slightly to the left, and then you want to run. And then when you're about like right here, you want to jump a throw.
Throwing fire.
And that'll get all the way back here. So he's completely forced off the spot and back to here, which doesn't make much of a difference if you don't have a smoke. But with the smoke, it'll help out a lot. And the only other molly I have is for connector. You line up at the same spot as a smoke for connector, and you aim right at this dot and just do a jump throw. And that'll get pretty much everything. Sometimes it'll even molly up here. That's just occasionally though. But with this molly, you don't actually need a lineup. You could go anywhere inside this box I shot out, and you just molly in the same. You line up in the same exact spot, right in this dot, anywhere inside this box, and jump throw. And you'll get a molly there to throw them off position. So once again, so you could just see it anywhere in that box. If you line up with that dot, it'll molly connector right there. And that's pretty much it for B site. I'll show you a couple of flashes. Now, if you just want a general flash, you just stand somewhere up here. Make sure you don't hit this thing. These little flares right here, the smokes will go right. I mean, any nades will go right through. You just want to aim up high, do a very, very short run throw, and that'll get pretty much all the major spots. If they're holding tight right here, they'll get flashed. They're holding tight right here, they'll get flashed. Palace, they'll get flashed. And even back in sniper, they'll get flashed. Down here is a little tricky because of this pillar right here. So it really depends on where they're holding. There's not much you could do about that. There are some closer flashes too. Maybe if you're trying to self flash. So on this one, you want to aim right on the bottom of this dark spot.
Flashbang out.
Now this will get this spot if they're holding tight on this, it'll miss them. It'll hit Palace, but it won't really hit. Yeah, it won't hit Sniper at all. So if you want to hit Sniper or that right side of back sight, you just go to this corner of the block over here, right here instead,
Throwing a flashbang.
and it'll shoot at the other. Okay, no, that wasn't right.
Flashbang.
There we go. And now it shoots it the other way. The only problem with this, if they're holding tight, he's not going to be flashed by it. But if they're holding tight over here, they'll be flashed. And then if they're in sniper holding tight, they'll be flashed as well. And that's it for B site. So let's go to A site, and I'll show you what I have. So for the first one is for the walkway, the hole in the wall on the walkway. You just want to get back here. You want to line up with here and go up to the top of this.
Smoke down.
Just a left click throw. And every time I've done this, it hasn't shown any holes in here. So you shouldn't have an issue with that. Now for the next one will be Smoke in Heaven. Now there's actually two smokes for Heaven. This is, I would definitely say, the better one. A little bit more work, but you'll see why it's better. Alright, so you want to aim in the middle of these two right here, right at the top, and just do a run throw.
I'm throwing smoke.
Now this will bounce around, and it'll catch on that edge every time. So again, I've never had an issue with this smoke, as long as you line it up correctly. And even with this one, you can molly back here if you wanted to, which I'll also show you how to do. So for the second Heaven smoke, which is the same way you molly it, stand anywhere up here is fine. All you want to do is you want to aim with the line on this roof piece that's hanging. You want to aim up that line, and you're going to do a run throw.
I'm throwing smoke.
Oh, okay. I didn't run far enough.
Smoke.
Alright, now the only problem with this one is it usually creates a bit of a gap. Now this gap's kind of tight, but sometimes it'll leave a bigger gap. and they'll be able to see you anytime you're standing anywhere around here. So that's why I like the first one better. But you could also molly from this position as well. Same lineup, same thing. Just line up with that and do a run throw. Now the only issue with this is they could hold type fountain right here. You just got to be aware of that. I mean, if you're coming around fountain and you just hold the type, they're not going to be able to see. For the other mollies, you can pretty much molly this whole area from standing up here. To go right by the hole in the wall, you just you want to line up between these two right here and just throw right there. You could run a little bit to get it deeper if you want. If you want it close, all you gotta do, stand down here, make it so that only a tiny bit of the window shows. And you want to aim at line up at the top of the arch and aim up here, and that'll get it really close. And you could also do the same thing over here, but there is a problem with this one, and I'll show you what it is and how to deal with it. Same thing, just get a little bit of the window showing, line up at the top of the arch at the top. Now this one, they have some weird block that occasionally messes with you, so just do like a hair below the top of that line.
I'm starting the fire.
Now see, the problem with this is, for some reason, most of the time, 9 out of 10 times, it will not burn back here. So to deal with that, you simply want to try to get as close to this wall as possible. What all you really got to do is just line up this pillar with the edge of the window. You know, make sure only a little bit of the window is showing, and line it up. And it'll burn back here every single time. I'd say there's only 1 out of 10 times where it takes a while to spread back there. Most of the time it spreads back there immediately, but as far as every time I've tried it, it always spread back here the closer you get to this wall. And the only other smoke I have is if you come over here and aim the inside of this, you can smoke off across the fountain. Now, I don't really have anything for fountain. Where it is, it's not really much you can do. But for a simple flash to fountain, just come anywhere around here. Aim right about here and just do a medium throw.
Flashbang out.
And he'll have very little time to react to this. This one was a little shorter than normal, but even still, very little time to react to that flash. And then if you're just doing, if you're running into the site, you could just kind of along this beam.
Flashbang out.
And it'll flash mostly everyone. And that's pretty much it for flashes. I mean, you could just throw them through the window at any point.
Flashbang.
Alright, there's 2 other smokes you could throw from here if you're getting trouble from mid and connector. So you just line up in the center of this, and for a connector, you just aim here and do a jump throw.
Smoke down.
That'll smoke off connector for you. So it's a little bit easier to hold. They're not going to be peeking you all the time. Now you can also smoke out up here, but the only problem with this is this board is kind of all over the place, so the smoke goes to random places depending on where you're standing. But you can smoke it off decently. You can smoke it off pretty well majority of the time. But some of the times it won't be smoked that well. So you just aim down here and do a jump throw. Yeah, see, this time I smoked it up pretty well. But it all depends on where you're standing. Cause a lot of times it'll hit this one right here, and it'll just kind of bounce way off to the left or something and not smoke it that well. Okay, and for mid, I don't really have much for mid, but if you're up close and you got a guy sitting down there, if you just want a single smoke, this one messed up right here. You just kind of go next to it and do a jump throw. That should smoke off the center pretty well. You're always gonna have an issue with them standing up here, but you just gotta be aware of that. Now, if you want to do a double smoke, the first one you just go to this spot, and then you just aim down here at the messed up marking, jump through, and the other one you line up with this line right here, and you aim at the first marking, and jump throw. And that'll smoke off side to side very well, but you're still going to have the issue with this, and you're pretty much going to give them a one-way. So you got to be real careful of that. Either just pre-fire it, or just, know what you're dealing with. Alright, the only other smoke I have is for middle. You could do from T-spawn. It'll be a little difficult. So you want to get back here. You want to line up with this line, aim at the roof, and when you're about right here is when you want to jump throw. I think I did that a little early. Yeah. There we go. That'll smoke it up pretty damn well. So if you have some guy rushing, it should help assist him getting into A, or just to mess with him. Alright, that's all the mollies and smokes I know for Anubis. If you figured any out, just leave a link in the comments and I'll check them out. But that'll be it for now. See you guys.